62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. That includes people making $30,000 a year. It also includes people making $300,000 a year. And here's the thing that took me way too long to understand. It's not always about how much money you make. It's about a trap that's specifically designed to keep you running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. So let's talk about what the paycheck to paycheck trap actually is, why it's so hard to escape, and most importantly, what you can do about it starting this week. First, let's define what we're dealing with. Living paycheck to paycheck means your entire income goes out the door before your next paycheck arrives. There's nothing left over, no cushion, no breathing room. If your paycheck is delayed by even a few days, you're scrambling. And this creates a very specific kind of stress that people who haven't experienced it don't fully understand. It's not just about money being tight. It's about the mental weight of knowing that one unexpected expense could unravel everything. Your car needs new brakes? That's not an inconvenience. That's a crisis. Your kid gets sick and you miss 2 days of work? That's not a bad week. That's potentially a missed rent payment. This is what people mean when they say they're one emergency away from disaster. And here's where it gets frustrating. The system around you is actually built to keep you in this exact position. That sounds dramatic, but stick with me for a second. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you can't buy in bulk, so you pay more per unit for everything. You can't wait for sales, so you pay full price. You might not have enough in your account to avoid bank fees, so you're paying $35 every time you accidentally overdraft by $6. You can't take advantage of discounts that require money up front, like paying for a full year of insurance instead of monthly. Being broke is genuinely more expensive than having money, and that's not a cute saying. It's just math. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you need new tires for your car. A full set costs $600. If you have savings, you pay $600, done. But if you're paycheck to paycheck, you might have to put it on a credit card with 24% interest. That's the annual percentage rate, which just means how much extra you pay per year for borrowing the money. If you can only afford minimum payments, those $600 tires might end up costing you $850 by the time you're done. You paid $250 extra for the privilege of not having $250 extra. This is the trap. It costs money to not have money. Now, let's talk about how people end up here, because I think there's a misconception that paycheck to paycheck living is always about bad decisions. Sometimes it is, but often it's about circumstances that compound over time. Maybe you graduated with student loans and your entry-level salary couldn't keep up with payments plus rent, plus a car payment plus, eating food. Maybe you had a medical emergency, and even with insurance, you ended up with $8,000 in bills. Maybe you got divorced, and suddenly one household became two, but the incomes didn't double. Maybe you just live in a city where rent takes 60% of your income, because that's just what rent costs now. The point is, it doesn't take a spending problem to end up in this trap. Sometimes life just happens faster than your bank account can handle. But here's the part that nobody told me for years, and I wish someone had. Once you understand why this trap is so sticky, you can start to work your way out of it. It's not fast, it's not glamorous, but it's possible. The first thing you need to understand is the concept of the financial floor. Right now, if you're paycheck to paycheck, your floor is zero, or maybe it's negative. Every unexpected expense drops you through that floor, and you have to claw your way back up just to get to zero again. The goal isn't to get rich. The goal is to raise that floor so that when something goes wrong, you don't fall as far. This starts with what I call the boring emergency fund. I know you've heard this before. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Cool, thanks. Super helpful when I have $11 in my account on the 28th of every month. Here's what actually works. Start with a goal of $500. That's it. $500 won't cover 3 months of anything, but it will cover a flat tire. It'll cover a doctor's visit copay. It'll cover a busted phone screen. $500 is the difference between "that's annoying" and "I have to put this on a credit card and pay interest for 6 months." And here's the key that took me forever to learn. That $500 has to be untouchable for anything except actual emergencies. Not, "I really want to go to that concert" emergencies. Not, "these shoes are on sale" emergencies. Real emergencies. Car broke. Tooth hurts. Lost my job. That's the list. Now, how do you actually save $500 when you have nothing left over? This is where it gets real. First, you track every dollar for 30 days. I know, it's tedious, but most people who do this find money they didn't know they were spending. That subscription you forgot about. The convenience store stops that add up to $80 a month. The I deserve a treat purchases that happen 3 times a week. I'm not saying you can't have nice things. I'm saying you might be spending on nice things you don't even remember buying. Second, you look for one expense you can eliminate or reduce, at least temporarily. Can you call your internet provider and ask for a lower rate? Sounds silly, but it works about half the time. Can you pause one streaming service for 3 months? Can you pack lunch twice a week instead of buying it? None of this is fun. But neither is lying awake at night wondering how you'll pay for your kid's field trip. Third, and this is the one that actually moved the needle for me, you pay yourself first. The day your paycheck hits, you move $25 to a separate savings account, or $50, or whatever doesn't make you completely unable to function. The amount matters less than the consistency. $25 a week is $1,300 in a year. That's an emergency fund. That's a floor under your feet. Now let's talk about the other side of this equation, the debt that's probably making everything harder. If you have credit card debt, that interest is actively working against you. Every month, your balance grows even if you don't buy anything new. It's like trying to run up a down escalator. You're working hard but not making progress. The strategy I wish I'd known earlier is called the avalanche method. You list all your debts by interest rate, highest first. You pay the minimum on everything except the highest interest debt, and you throw every extra dollar at that one. When it's gone, you move to the next highest. This saves you the most money over time because you're eliminating the debt that's growing fastest. There's another approach called the snowball method, where you pay off the smallest balance first, regardless of interest rate. It's mathematically less efficient, but some people need that psychological win of seeing a debt disappear. Either method is better than the most common strategy, which is pay the minimum on everything and hope for the best. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. I've thrown a lot at you. Here's what I want you to remember. The paycheck-to-paycheck trap isn't a personal failure. It's a structural problem that gets reinforced every time you don't have a cushion. The system charges you more for being broke, which keeps you broke, which charges you more. Understanding this isn't about feeling sorry for yourself. It's about seeing the game clearly so you can start playing it differently. Breaking out doesn't require a huge raise or a windfall. It requires raising your financial floor, even by a little bit, so that emergencies stop being disasters. $500. That's the first goal. Unsexy, boring, life-changing. So here's what I want you to do tomorrow morning. Actually, tomorrow morning, not someday. Open a savings account if you don't have one. Set up an automatic transfer for payday. Even $10, even $5. Start building that floor, $1 at a time, and then track your spending for 30 days. You'll find something to cut. Everyone does. That money goes straight to your emergency fund. No negotiations, no exceptions. This won't fix everything overnight. You might still be paycheck to paycheck for a while, but you'll be paycheck to paycheck with a plan and a floor under your feet instead of paycheck to paycheck with nothing but anxiety and hope. That's how you start climbing out. If this made something click for you, consider subscribing to Like Your 5. We break down money stuff without making you feel dumb about it, which honestly should be the bare minimum, but here we are.